About growing sports, we have on the hold right now Kyle Olson from the San Diego Growlers. And real quick, Kellen, before we invite Kyle on, I got to tell you, a couple weeks ago, months ago, I wasn't much up on Ultimate Disc. I didn't grow up with the sport. Got an opportunity to go out to watch the San Diego Growlers, did some live streaming, and I'll tell you what, I'm hooked. What a fast-paced, awesome sport. And with that intro, Kyle Olson, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Now, Kyle, thanks so much for joining us. If you were going to pitch the idea of somebody to come out and watch San Diego Growlers of the AUDL, and we'll talk about what the AUDL is here shortly, but what would be your number one pitch? What would be your number one sell to get people out to watch you guys play?
I would say this is an extremely family-friendly spectator sport with some of the best ultimate disc athletes in the world. These are elite-level athletes that are super fast, super well-trained, highly skilled, can jump high, make incredible athletic plays, play stellar defense, and can throw a Frisbee better and more precisely than you're probably used to seeing.
Now, explain the game a little bit. Ultimate Disc, how does it differ from some other types of similar games? I know the field's bigger, stuff like that. Real quick, how could you describe the game to somebody that maybe hadn't seen a lot of it?
Sure. So Ultimate, or Ultimate Frisbee as it's commonly known, is a 7-on-7 team sport where the object is to advance the disc up the field by completing passes and to finally score in your opponent's end zone by completing a pass from outside the end zone into the end zone, much like in football. So it's kind of reminiscent of a lot of great sports in that the offense and defense can flow backwards and forwards like in basketball and in soccer. And the scoring happens much like in football where the receiver catches a completed pass in the end zone. So it's pretty simple to follow. And at this level, you're going to see a lot of dynamic, huge plays. And that's the beauty of the sport.
Now, how did you get started in this sport?
A lot of people get started in college. And I went to San Diego State, and we have a great club program that has evolved over the years. It's got a great opportunity for college kids to get involved and to learn a sport. But there's a lot of ways to get involved. If you're in San Diego and you're interested in playing, Dude, the Diego Ultimate Disc experience is a way for people of all experience levels to come out and play. And then, if you're in college, there's great opportunities there at UCSD and San Diego State, both for men and women. And then there's also local club teams. And the Growlers happen to be a professional ultimate team. So it's basically that highest level where you're bringing in the athletes that take the sport extremely seriously. They train, almost 12 months out of the year, and they develop their skills. They develop their athleticism, and they're in great shape, and they play all the time.
Now, we're talking about the San Diego Growlers, and you mentioned they're professional athletes. I was absolutely it was so interesting to find out that so many players on your roster, they fly in for games. They're paid to play. They're at the top of their athletic ability in their field. Talk about that a little bit. How do you get this team put together? How do you go about and make a squad that's competitive with talented athletes?
Absolutely. That was kind of an interesting change for the sport. I think the San Diego Growlers are a new franchise for the AUDL, the American Ultimate Disc League, and I'm on the board of directors. We have a group of guys that have played Ultimate for a long time, and this professional experience it takes a lot of the worry out of the players' hands for where they're going to finance the sport. Up until this point, it's been a club sport where the passion for playing basically drives you, and you pay to go to tournaments, you pay your travel costs, et cetera. And what the Growlers have done and what these professional teams have done is they've taken those costs on themselves, and so that allows us to go out and get world-class athletes from Colorado. That's where we're flying a couple guys in. And these guys, Jimmy Mickle, Kurt Gibson, Nick Lance, and Josh Ackley, these guys are national champions on the club scene and the college scene, and they've won world championships. So, it allows us to go out and get those guys, fly them to our away games, and be the most competitive roster we can. So we take the best talent in San Diego, and then we went out and got some of the best talent that we could in the country, and we fly them in for games, and it's been really exciting.
Now, you have some guys on your roster that were on that championship team from a year ago on the San Jose Spiders. So a lot of talent there. You guys are figuring out how to play with each other, and obviously good things down the line. But you're talking about athletic ability. Real quick, I saw from the Spiders, I was doing some research before one of the games, and I will tell you, I was blown away by Bo Kittredge of the Spiders. There's a video on YouTube where he jumps over a guy, like literally leaps over a guy to catch a disc, and I tell you, that is a great selling point for the sport. You got athletes all over the place. It's not just him, but I tell you, if you've never seen the sport, you see that, you're going to be really interested in the sport if you like, good athletic ability.
Oh, absolutely. And that was probably one of the early plays that got some national recognition. But if you look now, you can see Frisbee on the SportsCenter top 10, probably once a week, maybe even twice a week, depending on, the plays that occur over the weekend. And it's one of the fastest growing sports in the country. Over the last 6 years, it's seen 26% increase in growth. Over, 5 to 6 million people play it nationwide. So there's a lot of kids and young people out there that love playing Ultimate, and they love seeing it on. We broadcast games on ESPN3, the AUDL does, and so just seeing it out there, the more people see it, I think the more people are going to recognize it and see the potential for what an exciting game it really is.
Kyle Campbell-Clerc with you here, and as you just mentioned, you guys have your Ultimate Disc games on ESPN3. Now, obviously, it's not the main tier of ESPN, but it is ESPN as a whole. But I'm looking through the AUDL website. And this is no slouch league. There's teams across the country and Canada even. In your mind, what can the AUDL do to sort of continue to grow the sport? Because obviously, it looks like you guys have a great foundation and great start with 25 teams across the entire country. This is incredible.
Yeah, in the inaugural season in 2012, there were just 8 teams. So you saw it went from 8 teams to 12 teams to 17 teams. Now there's 25 teams in 4 divisions. Playoff weekend is going to be really exciting this year. You're going to have the winner of each division kind of go into a bracket-style format in San Francisco. And I think the potential for growth is limitless rather here, where you see the interest level just continue to grow and people become familiar with the sport. And that's really kind of what we're taking on in San Diego and the league nationally. But in San Diego, we want people to come out to the games, and we've got this great family atmosphere. We've had over, average attendance of over 500 people at each of our home games, and there's music and there's stuff for kids to do, and we've got a mascot, and it's just, convincing people that this is a great way to spend, a couple bucks and to come out and spend their time with their family and get to know the sport. And maybe their kids go home and they want to play Ultimate, and they go find the dude, or they encourage their school to start a high school program, et cetera. That's where we see the future going. It's the more people that know Ultimate, the more people that play Ultimate, the bigger it can get and the more successful our league, but the sport in general can be.
So, Kyle, with 25 teams across the country, can you sort of tell us, how is the league scheduled or aligned in regards to divisional and conference alignment at all?
Yeah, absolutely. We're a member of the West Division, and there's the Midwest Division, the East Division, and the South Division. And so there's roughly 5 to 6 teams in each of those divisions. And we only play interconference games. So we play each of the teams in the West Division at least twice. We'll play Los Angeles a few times. Our next time playing against Los Angeles will be July 20th, I believe. I'm sorry, July 11th. I misspoke. So the interconference there is, the division, the top 3 teams in the division will play like a, single elimination playoff games, and the winner of each of those divisions will go on to play in an elimination series in San Francisco. So the West right now is super balanced. There's the first place team, the defending champions, the San Jose Spiders, and then Seattle's in second, and it is a dogfight for third, and we're right in that fight, and that's going to be the challenge for us for the remainder of the season. Is essentially we got to win some games, we got to win each game, and we're looking at a playoff run.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you right now to give yourself a letter grade. What's San Diego Growlers' letter grade this inaugural season? And then kind of paint a picture where you guys are going in the future. What do you think the expectations of the future for the Growlers organization?
Absolutely. Well, you're asking a hometown guy what his letter grade is, so that's a little hard. I'm kind of partial, but I'm going to give us a solid B+ right now, just because we came into a league that in their fourth, this is the 4th season, so we're coming in with, we've played Ultimate forever, but we haven't played the professional game. Sure. It's a little different. There's referees, there's 4 quarters. Ultimate has been traditionally a game that is self-officiated, and their games are played unto a score of 15. So it's a little different there, and we flew guys in from Colorado. So we started off a little rocky, but since then I think we're on pace to finish the season really strongly, and I'd be surprised if we weren't up at that A level by the end of the season. And then going forward, our goal is to win a championship. That's every great team's goal, and that's what we're building for. And I think we can do nothing but get better in the next season. But we've got to finish this season, and
Sure.
The way we see it, we're winning each one of our remaining games. We're going to playoff weekend, and we're going to try and bring home that championship.
Kyle, I'm going to put you on the spot. You don't have to mention any names, but I watched a number of games, and there's guys that are real physical out there that kind of push the limits a little bit. They're great players. I'm not knocking them. But are there guys just known in the league that are like, that guy, I don't like that guy. That guy, maybe he's just on the fringes of, I don't know, good behavior. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think every sport's going to have their kind of like notorious good guys and bad guys. But I think that's in Ultimate, it's a little bit more on a player-to-player level because so often you're playing man-to-man defense. So I think it comes down to individual rivalries. We're going to have, if we have a good team coming in that focus and their offense runs through one or two main guys, we're going to put our two main defenders on them, and they're going to start to go at it a little bit, and they're going to develop that kind of competitive rivalry. So while there are probably some guys that we could single out as less than the most spirited players, I would say that there's nobody that's over the line that
Okay, all right.
I'd be willing to call up.
I just wanted to, it's just such a great sport, and they play in such close proximity to each other. I coached a lot of different sports, and it just seemed very well organized, but you always wonder if there's somebody like, man, that guy, whatever the case may be. But there's 5 remaining games, 3 of them at home. Tell the fans out there how they might learn more about the San Diego Growlers and how to buy tickets and where they'd find that information.
Absolutely. Well, you can find us. Our website is sdgrowlers.com. Any information you need is there. You can follow us on Twitter, SD Growlers, Instagram, SD Growlers. We're on Facebook. We have, if you're interested in watching some of our past games, those are available on YouTube. ESPN3, if they don't have our game already, they should have it. I believe it's up there right now, so you can go up and watch our game from last weekend against San Francisco. Unfortunately, we lost, but it was a super close game, a lot of lead changes. We ended up losing by 2, but that's a great game if you want to get familiar. And the next 2 games are at Balboa Stadium on June 20th versus Vancouver, and who we beat in Vancouver a couple weeks ago, and then July 11th versus Los Angeles. So you can buy tickets at the door. Kids 10 and under get in free, student and military discounts, and if you buy tickets online ahead of time, they're only $12. So there's pretty much any way you want to get there, you can get there.
Well, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. We wish the Growlers the best of luck going forward, and thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be on.
Kyle Olson, San Diego Growlers of the AUDL, San Diego's newest professional sports team. I'll tell you what, a lot of fun. Encourage you to go out and watch that. We'll be right back with